Hey there and welcome to Photoshop 301, Section 2, Warping and Scaling. In this section, we're going to cover all the different ways there are to warp and scale your images within Photoshop. We're going to go over general warping, which exists within the Transform tool. We're going to show you how to puppet warp your image, which is a lot of fun. You can grab different points on your images and drag them around. We're also going to cover the Liquify tool and content-aware scaling. It's going to be an awesome section, guys. Let's jump into Photoshop. The first thing we're going to do is open our image. Let's hit Control or Command O to open. Okay, we're going to go to Photoshop 301, Section 2 on Warping and Scaling. And here in our Images folder, we're going to look at o2warp.tiff. So let's go ahead and open this up. F for full screen, and we're going to start off by actually breaking down our image so you guys can get an idea of how we created this. And this is one of my favorite images as a part of the series. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our background. So really simple background here. We've just got our color fill adjustment layer. Next, we've got our subject. So we've got subject 1 and subject 2. Now, these subjects were actually photographed. I'm going to hit Shift and click on our layer mask there. So you can see the subjects were actually photographed on a pink background, and they were photographed stepping on these stairs. Now, these were made relatively quickly for the photo shoot, and we went ahead and enhanced them a little bit in Photoshop to make them look a little bit better. Okay, so let's hold down Shift, click there. There we go. We can see we have just a little bit of shadow fill there. And this layer we've used to basically paint in and extend the stairs. Okay, which I did basically by using the pen tool, making selections, and then creating the stairs and filling it in with the brush tool as well as the gradient tool. Okay, now we're going to take a look at subject 2. There we go. Basically the same idea here as in subject 1. All right, we've got our subject photographed here on some stairs there. This is just basically another version of that. We can actually delete that layer. Okay, so subject photographed on stairs, and then we went ahead and extended those stairs. You can see the stairs look great, you know, straight out of camera. Like, they definitely serve their purpose for the photo shoot. And this happens all the time. Like, sometimes you'll use a prop for a photo shoot. You don't need it to be absolutely perfect because you plan on actually enhancing it in Photoshop. And that's kind of what we did here. So you can see the stairs, they look good. They're, again, could look a little bit better. So we enhanced those a little bit better just to kind of, well, you can make something look as perfect as you want within Photoshop. All right, and we actually are going to be building this image in a later section. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and take a look at the type in our image. All right, and that pretty much makes up our Queen of Hearts in this tutorial. All right, so that's the basic breakdown of how this image is actually made. Now let's go ahead and jump in and show you guys how to warp and scale. So we're going to start off this section with warping within the Transform dialog. So to get there, let's go ahead and start off. I'm going to create a new layer on top of everything. Okay, now we're going to go to Image, down to Apply Image. Okay, we want to make sure our layer says Merged. Basically, it's going to put a copy of everything it sees onto this layer. So you can see now we have one layer with everything on it. Okay, now let's go ahead and go over our warping that's contained within our Transform tool. So I'm going to hit Control or Command T to bring up our transform. Now, within our Transform tool, there are a lot of different types of warps and scaling that we can do. So by default, if you just want to make something smaller or larger, simply click on one of these corners here. There we go. And if you want to constrain proportion, just hold down the Shift key. Okay, and that's how we can make something larger or smaller. Now, we also have a few more warps that are located here. So we're going to go down to Edit, over to Transform, and then here are all of our transforms that are within our free transform dialog. So earlier when we hit Control or Command T, that's basically just goes to free transform, okay, which allows us to transform our image. Now here in transform we can see we have options for scaling, which is what we just did, rotating, which will allow us to, again, rotate our image. Now when you rotate, you can move your control point as well. So now I'm rotating around that control point. All right, let's go to Edit. There we go. Sorry, just undo that real quick. We'll go down to Skew. Now with Skew, basically you can grab any of your control points. There we go. And start to skew your image by moving your different control points in the corners. You can also skew from left to the right. There we go. Simply by grabbing one of these control points. All right, let's hit Escape there. Now we're going to go down to our perspective. And when I click on perspective, anytime I click on the corner here, it's going to automatically pull in the other corner as well, basically trying to